that Northern Soul obsession, and when the DJs used to cover up the record labels, they became known as cover-ups, but another name for that was Secret Sounds, which was something I stumbled across a few years ago, and I just quite liked that name. So it's something that I've used it as an artist name when I was producing things before, and I was on the verge of using that as an artist name for this album as well, but I kind of thought that I would rather use my DJ name to try and kind of promote myself a bit through the album as well. So I used that as the title for the album. It's all stuff that I've produced over the last however many years. The Million Dollar Orchestra was the last thing that I produced sort of full time. I took a few years to actually make that album. There was a lot of stuff that I had been working on before we recorded the Million Dollar Orchestra. There was a lot of stuff that we started recording as the Million Dollar Orchestra and didn't finish for whatever reason, whether we made it as a demo or just something that didn't quite fit or we didn't have time to finish or whatever. So I had a lot of stuff just sitting at home, half done, ideas, things like that I just decided I should try and do something with. So that was where the album came from. There was never a point where I thought, right, I'll make an album with all this stuff, until it started to come together, and I thought, you know what, this actually could become something, and that's when I started to think of it more as a project to finish as an album. It was interesting. It was interesting to revisit things that, like I say, some of them were years old, and I mean, I think everybody who produces music has ideas at some point where they think, I'm going to do this, and they spend a couple of days on it and it suddenly dawns on them, this is crap. Why am I doing this? And you just put it to one side and you move on. But sometimes you revisit these things and you think, I must have just got bored with it, or there must be some reason why I didn't finish that other than it's not crap, it's actually okay. And it's quite interesting to go back to things like that, because I don't know, I mean, it just comes to life again somehow. You kind of get inspired to finish some of these things. And I mean, some of it is actually crap. Let's face it, there are some things that you go back and think, no, do you know what, that is crap, I might just delete that one. But there might be an element in there might be a drum track or something like that you've used and you think, well, that's quite good, I should maybe keep that, or whatever, there's a bass line that you do actually quite like. So there's always something can be salvaged from everything, I think. I think when we did a live show for the Jazz Festival a couple of years ago, and I think because all the stuff I had done was a guy I know plays guitar, so he came down and played guitar in my bedroom. He knew a guy who played bass, so he came and played bass in the bedroom. But once we actually had to get a band together, so we said that we better find a drummer and so on, when you actually heard the result of a live band playing that material, it was like, right, okay, I can't go back now to a computer and make drum tracks out of samples and stuff like that. I think we really need to keep this band together and record them as the Million Dollar Orchestra. So from that point on, I was quite focused on making this album properly. I found Marco, recorded it all here, so that was a proper, I mean, it was like going back in time and recording a band. I don't think there's many people nowadays making this kind of music who would do that. So then when we did Secret Sounds, that was completely different. That was like taking a step back to what I had been doing before, almost like producing house music, because it was all sequenced on the computer. It was almost like working with samples again, because everything was all loops and stuff like that. So I mean, it was quite a different process. The mixing process though was much the same. I mean, even when I got to the stage where I thought this stuff's finished, I always had it in mind that I would be back here to mix it, because I just got hooked on this place when we did the Million Dollar Orchestra. It's just perfect.